One of my favorites, one of everybody's favorites, is United States Senator John Kennedy. Hey, Mr. John, welcome back to Keel. How you doing this morning?
I'm well, Robert. I'm fighting a little bit of a chest cold, so if my voice sounds weird, that's the reason. But happy Thanksgiving, my friend.
Speaking of that, happy Thanksgiving to you, sir. What does a United States Senator of your stature, what are your plans for the holiday? I can't imagine you're going to be in the office eating a pot pie.
No, I'm back in Louisiana, and I've been back, I don't know, about 3 or 4 days. And today I'm catching up on my reading for my work, and then tonight we're going to my brother-in-law's hunting camp down below Chalmette. We'll celebrate Thanksgiving tomorrow, and I'm going to do a little duck hunting and a little fishing, and I'm looking forward to it. Just kind of getting away from politics.
I was going to say, dare I say, relaxation time well deserved. I saw you on Fox News Sunday this past weekend, and I was going to say you kind of got into it a little bit with Chris Wallace, but that wasn't really what happened. He kind of got into it with you about your perceptions of the impeachment proceedings. And as I'm watching that, I'm thinking, and maybe you think the same thing, I'm thinking, wait a second, all you quote-unquote journalists, what hearings are you watching? What transcripts are you reading to even draw the conclusions that you're drawing? Are you thinking the same thing when they're kind of pressing you on the president's problems?
Well, I mean, what I try to do, Robert, is just answer truthfully. You got two groups of folks here in America right now in terms of answering this question. You've got the well-intentioned crank wings. You're never going to convince them one way or the other, okay? But most Americans, I'm talking about the average American, the ordinary American, like I consider you and I to be ordinary Americans, they're looking at this, and I think most of them can see, even if they don't like the president, that the proceedings are rigged. The president and the Republicans are not allowed to call their own witnesses. They're not allowed to offer rebuttal testimony. They won't even let the president's lawyer be there. The people leading this thing, Speaker Pelosi and Chairman Schiff, they're the same ones that told us for 3 years they have uncontroverted, tie a ribbon on it, take it home to mama, rock-solid evidence that the president colluded with Russia. Well, the Mueller report came out and said, no, we didn't. And now they've come up with this new charge. And I think most Americans they're just not buying it. And I think my Democratic friends know that. And so that's why they started trying to talk about bribery. I'm told they went out and polled the word bribery and thought that they could convince the American people by changing their vocabulary. Look, the American people are pretty smart.
Actually did focus groups on that word from what I'd read, right?
Yeah. And that's the problem today with Washington. You've got all these people that think they're smarter and more virtuous than the American people, and that they can fool the American people, and they can't. And their attempts are so transparent.
The latest stories that I'm seeing, and it's a theory that's been being tossed around by a number of folks, is that the Democrats on the House side, Pelosi et al., Adam Schiff, they're looking at the poll numbers and seeing that they're, bluntly speaking, eating the big one on this one, and they're looking for an out, a way to actually not have a House impeachment vote, trying to figure out a way to squirm out of it. Are you hearing that, and what do you think about that?
I think they're looking at it, but I think Speaker Pelosi, who's obviously running the show, Chairman Schiff just does whatever he's told. I expect him to go forward and issue the articles of impeachment. We will get them in the Senate sometime around Christmas. We'll probably conduct a trial in January. We will be fair to everybody. The president will be allowed to call his witnesses. Pelosi will be allowed to call her witnesses. I predict that one of the witnesses called will be Hunter Biden. I think the American people are entitled to know what Mr. Biden did for the money. You can't deny this fact. President Obama put Vice President Biden in charge of the foreign affairs of two countries, China and Ukraine. And his son, Hunter Biden, walked away with huge billions of dollars of contracts from both countries. Now, maybe they got his name off ZipRecruiter, but I don't think so. And the American people, the president asked that be the corruption be investigated, and the Democrats don't want to talk about that. They say that the president asked to investigate Vice President Biden because he's a political rival. Well, there's plenty of evidence that he did it to investigate corruption, but the problem is Speaker Pelosi and Adam Schiff will not allow the president to offer any evidence. I mean, it's rigged.
And the fact that
the American people can see that.
And the fact that the previous Ukrainian government had worked in league with the Democrats to try to undermine, to find dirt on the Trump campaign, right?
Well, yeah, President Poroshenko, who was the president before the current president Zelensky, who I hope does better, but it was common knowledge, and it has been meticulously reported that President Poroshenko worked, he and his people worked very aggressively against Trump and for Clinton in the campaign. So this stuff that, Ukraine didn't meddle or attempt to meddle in the 2016 election is just not accurate. I can.
One more quick question, Mr. John. We got to get running here.
Got
to get running in a second or two. But one more quick question. Let's pull out the John Kennedy crystal ball. Move ahead 6 or 8 months. Are you confident? Are you confident that this is going to be damaging to the Democrats beyond their worst nightmares, and that it's going to work out well for the Republicans, or more specifically Donald Trump?
I believe it will, because I trust the American people. The goat's milk latte drinking elites in Washington D.C. think they can fool the American people, and I don't believe it.